All right, Brian. Now let's ask. I'm here with Brian Smith, founder of UGG Boots, and we're going to dig deep into the whole process of decision making as an entrepreneur when you're pretty much making it up every step of the way. Brian, what's the balance, if any, between gut instinct and doing it that way, and also taking in the information, doing more of a rational approach, or is there a balance? What did you find out when you were on this grand journey?
Wow, another deep question. Um, I think the way I can attack this answer is to say that uh, it was very different in the first few years of the business than it became in the next like years 10, 11, 12, for instance. At first, I had no idea. I was an accountant that became a sheepskin importer in California. Had never, ever done that sort of business. I had to become a salesman. I didn't have a clue when I left Australia about this strata of salesmen that existed in America. It was a huge force. So I was winging it pretty much the first 3 or 4 years of the business. I had been an accountant and had a pretty good feel for business savvy, but that was always after the event as an accountant. I never was, if this was the first time I was actually creating the event that the accountants would figure out later on. And it was very different in that the first few years that I didn't have anyone to follow. Nobody had brought UGG boots or sheepskin boots into America. I had to figure out how to go to trade shows. I had to figure out how to go on the road and sell. Eventually, 4 or 5 years down the road, I learned the system, because America is a beautiful country for driving systems. And once you plug into the system of trade shows, sales forces, importing, customs, deliveries, collections, it's a beautiful system that works really, really well. But I had to learn every one of those steps from trial and error. Now, let's go forward the next 10 years. It became a lot of rules, a lot of guidelines. We would have a product development committee that would make sure we had a product development schedule in place. We had quality control come in. We had research into markets, into the sales force. We knew we had statistics based on what they sold last year, what they ordered this year, so we could do a lot of predictions. So it changed dramatically over the course of the whole operation.
And do you have a particular instinct for when you're operating off your intuitive gut instinct, and when do you have a sense? Is there a sensation when you know you have to change course?
I'll tell you one thing I've learned, and this is a very spiritual thing, that every time I got goosebumps, I figured out it was my spirit telling me that's the right way to go. And this happened the day I opened a surf magazine and saw an ad for sheepskin boots, and that was the goosebumps that created my desire to bring the sheepskin boots into America in the first place, to goosebumps right at the end when Oprah's group called and wanted to get boots for the Best Picks of Christmas show. And so the goosebumps happened all the time in between, and every time that I made a decision and got that feeling, I knew I was on the right track.